leave them out there on the perimeter.
Oh, good. Oh, why'd you stop it? All right, we are live, right, Jamie? Give me a nod. Okay, for episode 92 of the Daily BLP. Thanks everybody for joining. I know you have a lot of places to be, so glad you chose to be here with us. As you can see, I have a special guest today, Schaefer. She is a veteran of the show from a while back. She approached me a few weeks back, said, hey, I got some stuff I want to talk about. You want to meet? I said, yeah, but we have to do it on camera. She's like, fine, okay. So I thought it would be a great idea. She agreed. So here we are today. And as you guys can see, the studio looks totally different. We didn't change to another room or move to another building. We are in the same place. It's just spruced up a little bit. Like I was telling Deanne earlier, when she got here, she gave me a reason to clean the place up a bit. So here we are. Deanne, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and your place looks amazing.
Thank you. Oh, almost forgot to mention too, because I can't see him. Matt's here too. Matt, say hi. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, how you doing, everyone? Glad to be here. And yeah, just going off that note, it looks great in there. The studio really looks amazing.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, I saw the double bicep emojis after I sent you a picture of the place. That told me that you thought it was lit, or whatever they say these days.
Whatever they say. Right.
Anyway, so the whole topic of today's show is podcasts. We're on a podcast. We're going to talk about podcasts. So Deanne sent me a text. She said, hey, I think I'm thinking about possibly doing a podcast. Not sure if it's worth it. Can we meet and talk about it? Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, but let's do it on the show. Yeah. So let's do it.
I love it.
So let's do it. Tell me what you want to know.
Yeah. So originally when I had reached out to you, I had always kind of been considering things that I can use to grow my business, something different. And I love podcasts. I love to listen to them. And I thought, hey, Brian does a podcast. I wonder if he feels like it's worth the time and investment that he puts into it. I'm going to shoot him a text. So I sent you a message. Is it worth it, Brian? And I'm glad you invited me on the show that we can kind of talk this through, because I think a lot of other business owners have the same question.
Yeah.
And for me, when I pursue something, I always like to get as much information about it first before I dive in. So I thought you'd be a good place to start. So yeah, I'm wondering, is podcasting worth it? And can you give me some insight?
Well, you did text me that. It was kind of almost word for word, is podcasting worth it? As you know, I did not even answer. No, just kidding.
He really didn't.
I would say it is worth it, but it's work. And everything worth anything is going to be work. It's nothing's super easy. But it is worth it. We've created a ton of content over the last couple of years. The channel has grown. I think, Matt, I haven't looked at it in maybe a month or a few weeks, but I saw a notification on the channel that we went over 200,000 views or something like that. Do you know what we're at right now, Matt?
I can look into it while we're on here. I don't know the exact numbers off the top of the head, but I'll look into that real quick right now.
Cool.
Get that for you.
Because as an aggregate, I was Matt, if you remember the one, I think our highest viewed episode so far, it has over 17,000 views, and that was the poker. That was the poker. We had a guy on that was, what was his name? I feel bad that I forgot.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, I don't really remember either.
I remember you sharing that episode. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a clip from the episode.
So speaking of that, what sort of content do you feel like does the best just so far? Because how many years have you been podcasting now? You've been at it for a little bit.
We started in 2023, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
So it would have been around this time
Mhm.
in 2023, maybe November of 2023, maybe October. I don't
Okay,
remember
so you've been
exactly.
at it for a good 2 years.
Yeah.
And you've been consistent with it.
Yeah.
And so that episode sticks out. That one's got the most engagement. But is there a trend with your audience? Do you feel like, hey, this is one of our best performing, or this content seems to perform the best? Have you done any of those analytics when it comes to?
We do. Matt and I talk about it every couple months, especially when we're planning for what I call the big show.
Mhm.
We used to do 4 of those weekly. Now we do it monthly, and we just invest a little bit more time and energy into being meticulous about who we invite.
Mhm.
I think that's allowed us to invite higher caliber folks.
Mhm.
It's funny with the content performing, that one in particular was high because it's not relatively new either. And it's kind of, I think it works its way back into people's, and it was a clip about, I think, what are the best hands to play, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And, I don't know whether it's tagged properly or the subject matter just comes up a lot when people are searched, because people search for good
Mhm.
poker hands that want to play poker.
Mhm.
And it was funny after that, Matt and I started talking a little bit about certain things. Like I remember we had another really good performing episode shortly after that one. It was was it a sports therapist or something like that? It was some type of medical provider.
Okay.
Really good guy, but he came on and we got to talking about his daughter playing softball.
Okay.
And then I asked a question because I was coaching baseball at the time, and I was seeing a lot of girls fast pitch softball at the fields when we were there. I was there coaching my son and his team, and I just was noticing how violent of a pitching mechanic the fast pitch softball was for girls. And I asked him straight up, I go, do you see a lot of shoulder, issues with fast pitch girls softball as opposed to elbow or shoulder issues for men's fast pitch hardball? And he says, hardly ever. He said the underhand rotation of the girls fast pitch is a much more natural, and there's less torque on the arm itself. And it's more natural for them to do that than it is to come back here and then pull forward and then torque your elbow. So he said, I don't think he's ever seen a serious, thing. So that one performed really well.
And that one performed well.
And I think it just had to do with, it was a topic that was,
Okay. Because I was going to say,
kinda
we
hot
have
at the time.
poker and we have something in medical.
yeah,
So,
that's competition in sports, but it part of it is whether it's a natural conversation or pre-planning, depending on who you have on, how can you steer the show to go in a direction that's going to be interesting for people.
Okay. And that brings me to another point I wanted to ask you too, Brian. When you originally said, hey, I want to do a podcast, what was your why? Like, why did you want to start a podcast in the first place?
That's a good one. For a few years, I was procrastinating, which I tend to do, on whether or not how I was going to start creating more video content for our business.
Okay.
It never fit into the day for me to because myself and like Jamie or some of our other employees, our folks in India, we'd have conversations about, we need to sit down and do a webinar. We need to sit down and do, film you guys talking about A, B, or C, because we need some video content, because video content on YouTube and other places really gets eyeballs and drives interest. And I was like, yeah, we got to do that. And I just never had time, because it always felt like I had to pull myself out of the day-to-day craziness and to sit down and then sit in front of my phone.
Yeah.
And another part of it was too is, outside of kind of guerrilla, put your phone up, which iPhones and phones these days can do a really good job of it. I just didn't want it to be permanently super janky. Even though in doing this podcast, I go in flux in and out of jank. You know what I mean? It's like every time we move to a new office, it's a little while to kind of get prepped up again, and it doesn't look great. And it looks great now.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you. But so back to that, the whole why was I needed a natural way to create content for us and the business, but not overtly for the business.
Okay.
So sometimes what I'll do, and we've tested a little bit, Matt will remember this a few times, where we've kind of like, if you've watched podcasts, sometimes they have sponsors and they'll kind of turn to the camera and talk about the sponsor and then go back to doing it, right?
Yeah.
Which is better than like a cutaway for a YouTube ad that pulls you totally out of it. But when they do this thing, it's like you can't just hit skip after 5 seconds. You got to listen to their spiel. So a few times I'd do that, or maybe I'd do a little short commercial about our Scribe service or our IT service or whatever. And that's fine, but it still felt kind of janky. And sometimes, depending on a campaign we've got going on, I might throw that in there because we need a new look, or we're just saying something new, or maybe we have a new message. So I'm already in front of the camera. Why not do it that way and, have some good content? So it was really about create some content and just get it, have it recorded at first. So that's when we had the weekly show, the longer format weekly show, and we were building a lot of content. And then that's Matt found me, and I'd had it in the back of my head. I didn't go looking for Matt.
Okay.
I was like, I want to do this. I don't know how to do this. Yeah. I was probably Google searching, and maybe I landed on one of his lists somehow. I don't know, but he found me, I think, on LinkedIn, right, Matt?
Yeah. No. Yeah. LinkedIn. Yeah. We just messaged on LinkedIn for a bit.
And it would just so happen that I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, I'll be your Huckleberry. Let's talk. And we did, and he gave me a quote, and I told him to pound sand because it was way too much. Remember that, Matt? I didn't say it that harshly, but basically, And Matt had been doing this a bit. He had already had some good, successful shows and stuff. But like you tend to do in business, you use a new opportunity to kind of see. My Matt's time's valuable, my time's, your time is valuable. Every once in a while, we have to put a price out there that might be more than what we're used to just see if our value is there yet.
And I love that. So for me, like, time is my greatest commodity. So everything that I do, I realize it's going to cost me an amount of time.
Yep.
So for me, it's like the amount of time and effort and energy that I put into podcasting. Is it worth it? Am I going to get something out of it? Do you feel like the amount of time and energy that you put into it, you're getting something out of it?
Yes. Like, I'm not getting checks. YouTube's not sending me checks. That's, if that happens someday, great. But that wasn't the reason to do it. It wasn't like, okay, let's start doing this so we can get a new line item, in the business, a new income stream in the business. It was, we need to have a vehicle to get ourselves out there.
Okay.
And and my selfish reason for doing this is I like meeting new people that have accomplished things. Yeah. I like to hear their story. I like to hear the struggles. I like to hear the wins, and I like to learn. And I learned years ago that, you become you basically become the average of who you surround yourself with.
You do.
And, I wanted to have a really good reason to get around people from all over the world.
I love that.
That have done things that either I want to do, or I thought it would be cool to do, or now that I know that it's not as cool as I thought it was, I don't have to worry about that anymore, right?
You're right.
So, that's why I did it, and it's absolutely worth it. We've got so many terabytes now of shows and audio, and so the team, my marketing team back in India, Manoj and Harshit, those guys. So when the stream is done, and I'll download from the software that we use. We could talk about that too.
Okay.
I download the package and I upload it into our OneDrive, and I send them a little Zoom because they start probably working at like 11 or 12 our time. Okay. I'm like, hey guys, we had a successful show. All the assets are in OneDrive, so they'll jump in there. They'll clip things up, and they'll do the new stuff, but then they'll go back and pull some old stuff. Like, I think they just uploaded clips from a show we did before. It must have been 2 months ago, before we moved into this office. Okay. And it's still, and what they've gotten good at going back through those shows and finding the conversations that they can clip and then put out there that's relevant.
Okay. Yep. I got that. I love to see this for you because I think back to when I first met you guys at the very first place that you had in Manitowoc. Yep. I think it was like 6 years ago. And I came for a branding session, and you guys, it was like 3 employees, I think. Yep. And then you moved again and expanded, and now for a third time expanded. Can you take me back to the very beginning? Like, did you have a vision of this is what I want my business to look like for growth, or were you just taking it one step at a time? I mean, can you talk me through that? Because you've grown over the past 6 years, and it's been amazing to see.
Yeah, we grew and then we went backwards a little bit and we're growing again. But that happens in business. I do have a vision for where I think we can be. The thing I do poorly is I don't communicate it well. Because it's funny, I get fired up about it,
Yeah.
and then I get busy,
Yeah.
and then I second guess it, and then I don't share it. It's funny, I was watching a podcast. I don't watch the podcast on the way home, but I listen to podcasts generally on YouTube. It's just easier to get at them than all the other stuff. But I glance, I'm not gonna lie, I glanced down. Anyway, I was listening to one, it was a session, or was it when I was painting this place? Yes, I can't remember. But I was listening to one, it was talking about communicating your vision and mission with your team and getting them involved in that. And this guy was saying how he does consulting for marketing, and he sits down with leadership groups and full teams, and he does this thing with sticky notes, because everybody has sticky note, and he says write down like the number one most important thing that your company does, or your company's purpose. And most people can't think of one, or they're never the same. And that, it's not the employee's fault. It's the leader's fault for not communicating it, or, you know what I mean? So that's one thing we haven't done a good job of. But yeah, I do have a vision, and it kind of changes every year.
Okay.
I always had a vision that we were going to be doing marketing. I always had a vision that we were going to, but I still have the vision that I want to be the most, the market leader in IT managed services in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And we got a long way to go, but so yeah.
Having something to strive for, though, it's rewarding.
Yep. If you don't, you're just going to kind of wake up and keep doing the same things over and over again.
Exactly. Speaking of waking up and keep doing the same over, I am not a surface level person. I like to just cut through the chase, cut through all of that, and get to know people for what they are. So speaking of that, what makes you tick? Like, what puts your feet on the floor in the morning and makes you get up and come here, and propels you forward in business?
The alarm. The alarm. No.
I know, the dreaded alarm.
Even on the stressful days, or on the days that I'm like, things are dragging a little bit, I love what I do. I love what we do. Compared to what I used to do when I was an employee. Not that being an employee is a bad thing. I just always knew that wasn't always going to be it. I just, the fact that I can have some control over my ship. I haven't thought about that in a while.
I know. And I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
that's a tough question, but I love to talk to other entrepreneurs, because we're kind of wired different sometimes. And most of us trade a 9 to 5 for a 24/7. Because it's hard to flip that switch off. Sometimes you always feel like you're just in that mindset. And so I think entrepreneurs also just have something special to offer. And I always want to know just like what drives you and what drives them.
You're right about it. You don't really turn it off even when you try to turn it off. It's hard away from office or meetings or work to be present, because there's always some little thing reminding you that either has to get done or didn't get done, or this, the goals or the things that you haven't hit. Those are always there. Like one example is, I remember last night when I got home, I just kind of painted this area, and I was home late. Emmy and Mila, my youngest, were already in bed, and Jen and I kind of share that duty. And I love being able to put Mila down, and I missed that, and it bothered me. And I was a little off, because I'm thinking about little things like it's the end of the year. We've had a good year, but not as good as a year as I want to. I look back at what we could have done better. We could just be further along. So that kind of stuff was rattling around in my head, and Jen could tell. She's like, "Is everything okay? Are you all right?" And as anybody in a relationship, those folks, like Jen, will internalize it. Your husband probably internalizes things when he thinks something's off with you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to communicate. It's not you. It's okay. Even though home life is crazy and kids are nutso.
Yes.
It's just, and I don't like, and she wants me to share that stuff, and I just don't want to burden. So that can be a struggle when you're an entrepreneur.
I love that you said that, because sometimes our spouses keep us in line the most.
Yep.
And I can tell that when I get out of line, or I'm just like too focused on work and business and I can't shut it off, my husband's a good reminder of like, be present. And just, that stuff's not going to matter. It'll be there tomorrow and deal with it then.
Yep.
So I'm grateful for them, and I'm grateful that, you know, they can put us back to where we need to be and get in that headspace.
I
But
think I've gotten better at it. It
Yeah.
used to be the first probably 4 or 5 years. I always had my phone with me. I was always checking email. I was always trying to my phone was dinging, and I was checking every time it dinged.
mhm,
And then I took this leadership course, and it's like, you're not going to get anything done running a business if everybody can get a hold of you every time, everywhere you are at any time, at any
Yep.
point. You need to flip that and be in control. So I'm like, and there's a double-edged sword there too, because when Jen or somebody that I want to hear from messages me, I don't hear it because I have notifications off. I keep sound off because it would be constant ding, ding, ding,
Yes.
ding, 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 ding. And you're like a pinball and never getting anything done because you're always
correct.
on the next shiny. Yeah.
I totally agree. No, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because sometimes I think people feel like you run your own business and then everything's just great, but there's a lot of misconceptions that people have. One that we just talked about. Sometimes it's hard to always turn it off and just, you can't leave it there, you know? Do you think there's any other misconceptions people have when it comes to owning a business?
Oh yeah. I think one of the big ones, and I had this when I was young, not just about business owners, but even for organizations,
Mhm.
people like running the organizations, like the leaders and stuff. It was always the misconception of they've got it made. All they do is sit around and, you know, push papers around and drink coffee and walk around and lean on people's cubicles or desks. They're
Yeah.
not doing anything
Yeah.
and they're getting paid the most. That's a huge misconception.
Yeah.
I think, and it gets glossed over a little bit too, because I'll listen to some folks talk about these things too, especially when people are, you know, when folks that are employed by companies, small or large, you know, they get fired up because they don't feel like they're making enough because life's tough and everything's more expensive, which I totally understand.
Mhm.
But at the same time, they're all like, you know, the people at the top are making all the money and we're getting nothing. Especially in a small business, once you grow to a point and you make the commitment that you're going to bring new people into your family,
Mhm.
unless the way I view like Jamie, you guys can't see her behind the camera, or it's the way I view Ken, you know, Ken, and all the way down to our newest employees, Unique and Lisa. It's like,
Mhm.
once you're here,
Mhm.
you're kind of in the circle of trust, right? It's, and it can be really, that's the tough thing, because like you have to trust those people to be able, and you got to empower them to get their work done.
Mhm.
And at some point in time, if they're doing a good job, you've got to be like willing to compensate them for doing a good job.
Mhm.
But then there's the what I learned and what I try to teach folks too is like, just because you show up for a job and you do what's on your job description
Mhm.
and you do that for the year, that doesn't mean what you've done is you fulfilled the deal,
Mhm.
right? So when you join us and we both sign that agreement to work here, that what we've got is a covenant now.
Correct.
The covenant is, I'm going to pay you
Mhm.
X, which you've agreed to, and you're going to do Y,
Mhm.
and then we're going to be happy. What happens a lot of the times is folks like and I used to be guilty of this, but it wasn't until I got out on my own,
Mhm.
and then we started to build a business with myself and my partners Manny and Joe,
Mhm.
that you really learn that status quo doesn't grow. I just
Right.
made that up, and that works.
I
Status
love that.
quo doesn't
Status
grow.
quo doesn't grow.
Right, because if it's doing your job on the job description is status quo,
Mhm.
but coming at the end of the year doing a review and say I need a raise or I want a raise when you've done your job.
Mhm.
I try not to. I don't want to insult people when I say this, but I said, you've done your job. We've done ours. Did
Mhm.
we miss any paychecks? Nope.
Mhm.
Did we short you? Yes, the government takes its cut, but did we short? Nope. Okay, you didn't short us.
Right.
We're even.
Yep.
Now you want more. I can understand that. Let's talk about that.
Mhm.
So you want how much more? Well, I deserve $3 more an hour, or a percent, or what? Okay, great. What value are you going to add to the company
Value. Yep.
that is going to justify
Mhm.
that raise?
Exactly.
Well, I hit all my things. I'm like,
Mhm.
I know you did, but
Mhm.
that's what we pay. You know, so that can be a struggle. And I wish at a younger age we had some kind of mechanism to teach people that.
I
And
agree.
again, I didn't learn that until I learned that I'm not going to get paid unless I go find new clients willing
Yep.
to pay me.
Yes.
You know,
Speaking of that, I love how you brought that up, because I feel like our society today lacks a lot of that. Just going for it and going above and beyond sometimes. And I'm trying to instill that in my children. Like, if you see work that needs to be done, go do it.
Right.
Pick up, take the extra step to go a step further.
Yeah. I'm working on that with Dak. I'm not doing a very good job. He's,
Eh,
he does he's good at like, if it's on the direction of instructions, he'll do it really well.
Yeah.
But I can never assume that he sees that other thing that needs to go out with the garbage. Like, the main garbage goes out, the recycling goes out. But if there's a couple boxes 6 inches from the recycling bin, that stays there.
I've put little like tests now for my kids. I'll like put the laundry basket by the steps, and if they go up and they don't take it, I call them out. I'm like, you failed. You were supposed to grab that basket.
Yeah.
So just speaking of that and work ethic and all of that, where do you think yours came from? Like, where did you get your work ethic from? Because
Not
entrepreneurs need a good work ethic, and they need to be disciplined, or it's just not going to happen. Because most businesses fail within the first 5 years. You're still going. Where did the work ethic come from?
I still struggle with that. And back in, I want to say it was 2014 when I had kind of a falling out. It was 2013-ish, in the organization that I was working for. My best friend at the time owned it. I was getting involved with a different organization that was built around leadership, and I was learning a lot. And I had been dabbling into kind of self-directed education, reading books, learning, because I was butting up against this wall. And I just was like, everybody is butting up against this wall and no one's getting over it. So I was trying all kinds of different things. I was learning about real estate investing. I was like, man, there's got to be a way to provide more, to earn more of these kind of things. So I was just learning. And then, again, reading books, meeting people that were doing things or had the lifestyle that I wanted. And I definitely didn't have the work ethic naturally. I mean, when it comes to things that I enjoyed or competitive things I do, that was from sports and stuff. But it took outside, it took kind of people or things outside of my normal influence to induce me into the extra work. Like, it took a coach when I played sports, like, yelling at me in the weight room to do more than I thought I could do. Right. And, fast forward to now, I give a lot of credit to my business partners, Joe and Manny. And we kind of have this triangle of this. Each of us sometimes fall into a funk or get distracted with things that don't matter. And we can, in love, kind of call each other out on it. Sometimes we just make fun of each other, or sometimes we just got to holler at each other. Like, what are you doing? Get to work.
Right.
And that helps a lot, because sometimes they'll remember things that I should be doing that I can't remember or I forgot about. And same thing, me to them. And it's good that we have that relationship, because we each have our responsibilities. And I try not to dabble into the other's responsibilities, but if something from theirs bleeds over into mine that's not going, like something happened today, I won't talk too much about it, but I was like, I've got to talk to Joe about this because we got to fix this. Right. So, did I answer the question?
You answered the question.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, no.
Hey, you're good at this. So you could totally have a podcast. It's pretty natural, right?
I love to just ask questions and find out where people came from and like what makes you tick and what makes you go, and just wake up every day and all of that. So when you are not working, when you have like nothing to do, is that peaceful for you, or is that uncomfortable for you?
When I have nothing, I'm trying to, it's very few and far between. I have to manufacture the nothing to do time.
Okay.
I've learned that, and Jen helped me with this, because she pointed out quickly that I was doing too much of things that were outside. And I don't say family time is nothing to do, but because that is something to do. But if I have nothing to do time, and if people are awake, then I fill it with them. That's what I try to do now. Unless I'm just in a mood or a funk where I've got to separate for a little bit, or that is impacting the rest of the family or friends negatively because I'm just not engaging correctly. You ever had problems with that?
Yeah, and I always like to ask entrepreneurs that too, because I'm the kind of person who, like, I can't relax. I go on vacation. I can't sit around. I need to feel like I'm doing something productive. And I even want to just get into a good fiction book, but I'm always reading like self-development books or something that I can learn and grow in business. And I wish I could turn that off, but I can't.
Yeah, I struggle with that too. I like to read. I read slow, so that's a problem.
Yeah.
But
I'm also a slow
I'm
reader, but I need to
slow.
like take it in. Yeah.
so slow. Like you get a couple sentences and I'm like, and I'm distracted partially because I'm thinking about other things. I'm thinking about what do I got to do? What didn't I do? Oh, I forgot
Yes.
to do that. I should.
Yes.
And then I'm just going to forget to do that too.
Yeah.
But like, and then I got to start the paragraph. But
Yeah.
anyway, like I want to sit down and like read the Bible and get some time in
Yeah.
there. And then I'll read the whole chapter and I'll be like,
Yes.
what happened? What did and I start over.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot because a lot of the times, like words or sentences or things, like Bible's a really good example. A passage will be like convicting.
Yeah.
And it'll remind me that I'm not doing a good job in the husband world, right?
I know.
And then I'm like, and now I'm thinking about, I'm reading, I've got this ADHD mind. I'm still reading the words and moving
I
down,
do too.
but I'm not paying attention. I'm thinking about,
I know.
I got to set up a date, but I'm horrible at that. And I know I'm just going to forget it anyway. And then 5 minutes later, I'm at the bottom of the chapter and I'm like, I don't know what Paul was just saying. I got to
You are
start this
not
over again.
alone. You are
Yep.
not alone. And I'm glad you brought that up. The one thing I'm trying to do more is my faith is like the cornerstone. It's just a non-negotiable. I always try to have like some time in my Bible or devotion.
Mhm.
But like you, it's easy to get distracted or your mind wanders. And then next thing you know, I've created a whole list in my head and I'm like, what did I do?
Yep. Are you a list maker?
Huge list.
Yeah,
maker.
that's Jen. Jen's a huge list maker too. And bless her heart, because if we didn't have her lists,
Mhm.
things would be a mess. I try to make lists, but then I lose the lists. And like she gives me lists and I lose those too.
You can ask my husband. I make a list and then I like remake the list, and he's like, "You just keep adding."
Yeah. Like she'll like, "Hun, before you come home, can you stop at the grocery store and can you get some milk? Can you get some eggs? Can you get some cold medicine? She'll get
Yeah.
like, if it's over 3 things,
Yeah.
you got to text me because I won't remember. And it's to the point now where like 3 things is too much because I'll get to the store and I'll be like, I can't remember what I was supposed to get.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So,
love it.
But she loves me anyway. So
I think entrepreneurs do have like this ADHD brain almost, because sometimes I just feel like I have a million thoughts going through my brain. One of them was podcasting. And then I just got on a whole tangent one day of like, maybe I should start a podcast and I should call it this and interview business owners and blah, blah, blah. And then that's just why I sent you a message and it led us to this conversation, which I'm really glad we're able to kind of like talk through. So just on that topic,
yep.
who do you think podcasting would not serve? I mean, if I asked you, Brian, do you think I should start a podcast today? Is it worth it? Who would you look at and say, it wouldn't be for this type of person, I wouldn't think, or yes, I would encourage you? And I know that's kind of putting you on the spot.
I think it's not for somebody who gives up easily or is faint of heart.
It's a long game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even when we were only doing, Matt, are you still here? No, Matt left. Okay. Even when we were still just doing the 4 shows a month, there would be times when I'd be like looking down at my invoice to pay my bill because I pay Matt to produce and do a lot of hard work. And you can't tell. It's not just him showing up and recording me with a guest. It was taking all the information back, editing, clipping, posting, all this kind of stuff and scheduling. But I'd look down at that bill and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of money to let go this month. And it's not like we were short of money. It's just like, man, there's other things I could be doing this month, right? So it's not for the faint of heart that way. Not that you need to go out and pay somebody to do it. I just knew that if it was going to be on me only with no help, no experience, it was going to be a mess. So I was blessed to have him kind of reach out and we negotiated something that I could afford. And, but like 30 shows in, I was like, oh, is this worth it? Cause you always, you know how it is. You're like, man, is this worth it? And then, you do a couple of shows and you meet somebody new and you get some information and I don't check after every show how many views.
Okay.
I should probably go back and watch them after we record them. But I have this weird thing. Like, I hate hearing my voice on
I
voicemail.
think we all do. I know.
I don't hate it, but if I could watch a show and not have to hear my voice, like if like it could dub it, make it sound different.
Yeah.
But it's just weird for me.
I'm with you on that.
You know, it's like, okay, let's go back and I could watch my show 20 times and get the views up. I'm like, I'll go
That's
back
the
and watch a
secret.
show if
Yeah.
I remember like there was something that someone said that I wanted to go back on, and
Mhm.
but I don't typically go back and re-listen or rewatch the show.
Mhm.
But it's someone is and yeah, you can't give up easy.
Right. And that's what I've heard with podcasting is, it was like 98% of podcasts fail. Like people just don't stick with it for
Yep.
the long game long enough to actually gain any momentum.
Yep.
So hats off to you for 2 years and counting now. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And I haven't had a goal of I'm trying to get to X number of views or X
Mhm.
number of subscribers. We have like between 300 and 400 subscribers, not that many subscribers. And that's okay. I don't push it on here. I don't say like and subscribe. I can
Mhm.
do all that kind of stuff. But honestly, it annoys the heck out of me when people do it on their
I
shows all
know,
the time. But
but-
you got to do it or people won't do it. You got to have a CTA. I
Mhm.
get it. But again, it probably harkens back to maybe someday we'll strategize and have a push for subscribers and views and get all that stuff up. That's fine. But it's really just been, I want to have interesting conversations. And sometimes it's probably a little too self-serving because I don't always do a good job of thinking, what do people want to hear?
What do they want to hear?
You know? And one thing I haven't figured out is, okay, we have subscribers because YouTube doesn't tell you who they are.
Uh-huh.
So I know like I can see demographics, how many men watch, how many women watch, average age, that kind of stuff you can see. But I don't know what those 300 people want more of.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't figured out a good mechanism to build in the communicate. Like sometimes people will comment and I don't have the discipline to go every morning and look at comments and stuff like that. I've never asked Jamie to, I don't ask the other team to. Maybe I should do some of that. Matt doesn't do that for me. For the big shows he does, but it's like
Yeah.
what I haven't done is focus on channel growth. I'm still trying to figure out aesthetics. I think I've got something where I like it now.
The
'cause I'm
aesthetics
looking-
are on point.
Yeah.
Yes, they are amazing.
Thank you.
And if you're listening,
Finally.
what do you want to hear more of? Tell Brian.
And that's and that harkens back to
Yeah.
like I do a poor job of communicating my vision to the people around me. So I got to get better at that. But
And that's a strength though. I always say like knowing what we need to work on. And I always try to pull that out myself too. Like what is one of my weaknesses that I need to get better at? Or like where, they always say your strength finders, find your top 5 strengths
Yeah.
and really hone in on those. And I believe that, but I also think it's important to know maybe where you lack and recognize that and then delegate that because I think you need to allow people to help you where, maybe you don't go 100% or you lack in that
oh
way.
yeah, that's why I hired Jamie. Years back, is that I wasn't going to be able to free myself up to do anything like this or anything else if I was constantly, getting all the emails, paying all the bills, getting the invoices, coordinating all the things. Spending 3 hours of my day checking hundreds of emails. I still check my emails, but she sees them before I do,
Yeah.
and she'll like if anything needs my eyeballs, she'll flag it for me.
And that's
So,
huge.
yeah.
Because that's a huge time saver and the mental load that it takes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I still feel like I waste time on email, but these are all really good questions.
Yeah. And then I'm looking down at my phone. I've had some questions prepared for you because
Yeah.
I wanted to see where your brain was at and like how you think as an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
and what drives you, what got you to where you are today and the vision to where you're going. So as I'm looking down, I'm just seeing if I've missed anything.
This is kind of cool, Jamie. I like being
as
interviewed.
I'm
This has
putting
never
him on
happened
the
before.
spot.
This is fun. It's fun. And I didn't have to put a lot of mental energy into preparing. So it's good.
This is great. Okay. All right. I want to, if we have time, I do want to ask
I'm in
you
no
a
rush.
couple other questions. So, all right. Speaking of questions, what is one question you wish more people asked you?
Nobody asked me questions. That's kind of cool. Interesting.
I love interviewing. I love asking questions, but you specifically.
Because I spend so much time in my job and life, like asking other people questions. Like that's what I learned about like sales and things like that. Is like, you got to be the person asking questions. So rarely do I I generally, when people ask me questions, like
Yeah.
in meetings and stuff,
Yeah.
I reverse it right away.
Yeah. I'm
So I
the same
don't
way.
have to spend the whole time talking.
I'm the same way.
Or I will, like I don't have a problem talking. It's just I know if I start talking, it'll be too much. What do I wish people would ask me? I've never, ever thought, man, I wish people would ask me this question.
Uh-huh.
I think because in my mind, to answer questions worth asking, you got to get to a place where on some subject matter you feel like you've arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like that any place in my life
You don't feel like you've arrived, like,
besides being a dad.
okay.
But I don't have it all figured out,
And I don't think anyone ever does.
right?
And same with business. I think the misconception too is on the outside, it looks like other businesses and business owners have it figured out.
Yeah.
But what I've come to realize is just in talking with many of them and just listening, nobody really does.
No, we're like a walking, talking picture on Facebook or
Yeah.
Instagram. Like you see from afar, like, oh, this person's got it put together.
Mhm.
But if you could see like behind the veil, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fires going, putting them out, like spinning plates.
And truly,
question.
that's, yeah.
I think a question that I like to ask people in certain situations is I like to learn about their struggle.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I don't know if I've ever wished, but I think it'd be neat if someone, but again, I would have to be in a position that people kind of look up to, and I don't feel like I'm that.
You don't feel like it now.
No, because I just kind of feel like I'm always just, 2 minutes from, forgetting to, put my shoes on or something.
See, and the funny thing is, when I look at your business from the outside, I'm like, oh my goodness, like you look like you have it all together. And I think you just showing up every day is huge.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And again, that's just like the podcast questions. Like there's, especially doing the daily show, there's some days where we don't go live because something come up, or I've got a meeting, or I'm driving back, and I could do a show in a car, but I don't like doing that either. I always kind of think like that's kind of weird when people kind of do their rants in their car or something. Like, really? Gotta get anyway. So sometimes, I'm not so disciplined that I never miss a day and never miss a stream. But there's definitely days when like, oh God, I gotta get ready for the show. I don't have anything to talk about.
Then you just invite me and I will ask you a bunch of
There you
questions
go. Yeah.
about that. So just speaking of business and all of that, what do you really want your business to be known for? When people hear your business name,
Oh, this is a good one. I've been thinking about this recently.
what do you
Everybody
want
asks
them
this.
to come and go?
Okay, listen closely, Jamie, because I haven't brought this up with anybody.
Oh, see, I told you I'm going deep today. We're going to
I haven't
get
brought
some
this up
stuff
with
out
anybody because the hardest people to convince this of will be my business partners. But so I, in the last year or so, have become a big fan of a new-ish sport.
Okay. What's the sport?
Banana ball. Are you familiar with banana ball?
No.
So it's baseball with different rules,
Really?
and it's a whole new thing. It's not that new. The kind of the league has been building since like 2018, 2019.
I'm intrigued now.
So you got to look this up. So people listening are probably like, oh crap, he's talking about banana ball again. And now my kids that are watching are like, he said crap, he's in big trouble. But no, like, so banana ball, picture baseball with rules that make it a lot more fun to watch
Okay.
and be a part of.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, if a ball is hit foul into the stands, if a fan catches it, you're out.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
No walks allowed.
Okay.
After 4 balls, they call it a sprint. So the batter's can sprint to as many bases as he wants, and everybody in the infield and outfield, besides I think the pitcher or something, everybody's got to touch the ball. So you can go as far as you can, but if everybody touched the ball, then they can get you out. There's no bunting, they say, because bunting sucks.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of these cool little rules.
Okay, I like it.
They'll have like the golden batter. Each team can have a golden batter. And they
Mhm.
can pick anybody from the lineup. They can even have like, retired legends from MLB come in.
Okay.
They'll invite all kinds of people in. They dance a lot. So they have, you'll find them on there's like TikToks and things of them doing like the pitcher will just start dancing, and then some of the other players behind him will start dancing while the batter's right there. They've got music playing while they're like, it's just,
Yeah.
so it's crazy when you first watch it. It's a lot of fun. But then when you dig a little bit further into it, and I promise this is going somewhere. Jesse Cole, him and his wife bought an old team in Savannah, Georgia. They changed, it was a train wreck. They were dirt broke. They're sleeping on the floor on a mattress in their apartment because everything, after they bought this team, everything was just crazy. But they completely changed the name. They changed the rules. So they changed their name to the Savannah Bananas. And then over the course of a few years, they just ended up like leaving their little minor league and creating their own small league, and it's growing. So a few years ago, there's only 2 teams. Then there was 3. Then this year there was 4.
Oh,
Next
wow.
year there'll be 6.
Wow.
I mean, they started out in minor league stadiums. They fill major league stadiums Friday, Saturday, and Sundays.
Oh my gosh.
These teams they're going around and they're selling them out years in advance.
Wow.
Like you can't just go buy tickets. If someone's selling and trying to scalp a ticket, you can get it that way, but that's really discouraged. To get a ticket, you have to go into a lottery. And they're trying to make this fair and affordable. Tickets only range between $30 and $60. And but that goes back to this philosophy that they have, and their philosophy is fan first. Everything they do, every decision they make their games are real competitive. They're not rigged, but they produce all the things that happen during the games. When the players go out in the stands and interact with people, or when they do certain dances, they'll have this thing where like at games, a lot of times they'll be in the dead times, things will happen, right? And they'll bring babies out and have them crawl race across the field. And there's like at a Bananas game at the beginning of the game, they always pick I think they call it the banana of the night. It's a little baby and they dress him up like a banana and they hold him out like Simba from the Lion King, right? And but no, this fan philosophy, to the detriment of them being able to make as much money as they probably could. So their league is highly profitable, highly successful. It's just blowing up. But every decision they make does it put the fans first? So, it's, when you go to like an NFL or major league or an NBA game, unless you pay thousands of dollars or have you've won some special thing, you have no access to the players. In fact, everything is put in between you besides when they're on the court.
Yeah.
You don't even get to see them.
Right.
It's totally flipped on its head.
Okay.
Like people start showing up at like 2:00 for games. It's all scheduled. The players come out. They do a big parade.
Awesome.
They do these choreographed dances in front of people outside of the stadium before people even come in. During the game, the players and everything, they're all interacting in the stands and they're all doing these crazy things. After the game, everybody can stay and do like a meet and greet and get signatures and autographs and stuff. And I mean, right down to when they sell their like clothing or their hats or whatever, they don't charge tax.
Wow.
So, and I didn't know this. I wanted a hat, so I got a Savannah Bananas hat a few months ago, and I went on their site and this looks awesome. I get this hat, and it was like $40, and I go to pay, and I'm like, "Where's the tax?"
$40.
And they're like, we don't charge tax.
Because truly, fans first.
Fans first.
Okay.
What sucks more than taxes?
Right.
Not much. Not much.
Not much.
So, and they're like, we're just going to do away with it.
Yeah.
And it's still cheaper than me going out and buying a hat at Lids.
It is.
And it's a nice hat and it's fitted and it's, it's got a quality, 3D embossed logo on the, it's not like it's cheap, bad stuff either. So, and the more I've kind of dug into it and paid attention to it, they do all these cool things. Like each one of their teams have these special moments where they highlight something important. Like there's a team called the Firefighters, and they all kind of dress up like firefighters and they're playing baseball and stuff. But every game they have a firefighter of the game that comes out from whatever city they're in. They bring someone who's been a firefighter for X number of years and done so many things and saved so many lives, and they bring them out and they give them kind of award and they highlight them. The Bananas thing is they have a nonprofit that they started called Savannah's Foster, where usually it's Jesse's wife or somebody else on their staff comes out. It's usually a lady. They come out and they talk about Savannah's Foster, and they bring out a local family that have sponsored, whoever knows, and not sponsored, but that have been foster parents for so many kids and done all these things in the community. And that cuts to me because I grew up in foster care.
Okay.
I mean, from 2 months on until about 10 years old, I was in foster care.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so it's like, that's one of the things that's like, wow, that's really cool. That they, you know, not only an organization, they probably raise a bunch of money and give a bunch of money to, you know, different foster organizations, but they bring a family out and show something that you never see about foster care is the good. Like, you only hear about the horror stories that happen in foster care, and those are real and those shouldn't happen. But like, I don't have a foster care horror story. Like, I turned out to be the way I am, good and bad, because of that situation.
That's amazing.
You know? Yeah. Like, my foster parents, in the time that they fostered, they had over like 300 kids come through their home over the course of like 30 some years.
This is like a whole nother podcast episode because I have a million questions I want to ask you now.
Yeah, we don't have to get too far into it. But anyway, so going back to it, the fan first thing is what sticks with me.
Okay.
And so what I've been thinking about recently is, if let's just take IT, for instance. IT is managed services is completely a commoditized industry now. It's everywhere. Everybody has it. It's saturated to the point, like, you can go outside, you know, throw a penny and hit an IT managed service company. It's not hard for someone who knows a little bit about IT to go on and start their own company if they have kind of stick-to-itiveness. But what's something that is not prevalent, even someone that says, you know, it's, you know, customer first, baloney. Baloney. I guarantee, and this is something that everybody struggles with in any service related business, is who's really first, right? Who's really first? It's the business, the bottom line. We got to get paid. We got to make money because, you know, and that's true. But I think we can do all those things and figure out a way to truly kind of revolutionize, quote unquote, fan first in the industries that we're in. How do I do that yet? I don't know, but I think it's possible.
Okay.
And I can't do it on my own.
But that's your goal.
Right.
And that's what you would love to be known for when they
And this is
hear.
the first time I've ever talked about it.
Yeah, I love that.
But in fact, it's funny. Jesse, he's written a couple books, and I'm like, I got to get these books and read them. So I put them, like, Jen's making me do a list. And so I had a Daddy 2025 Christmas list on Amazon.
Good job,
So I
Jen.
popped those books in there. So
Yeah.
those will probably show up at some point. But I got to read those books. My goal is to have, if I get those books, Santa, if I get those books, I want to have them read by the end of the year, because I've got to figure out a way to communicate to my business partners and our team that this is what I think. If we do this, we're going to lose some money. That's fine, but we'll grow and make a lot more.
I was going to say, I think sometimes if you take a little loss in the beginning, it'll pay it for itself.
Yep. Just imagine, like as a company, we don't get charged, you know, we don't have to, you know, we're just taxes. You know, when I send an invoice to a client for services, there's not a line item for to tax services now, but all the hardware, all the software, a lot of those other things, there is. We can't avoid paying tax.
Right.
But can we do things in a way that says we're not going to make you pay the tax? Or
great.
like the credit card transaction fees, right? I hate having to pay those, but so do other people.
I know.
You know, I've done this for years. At first we didn't, but it got to be, we had some clients that paid us a lot a month, and that service fee was like cutting into that monthly. Like,
It does.
when you're getting paid so much by a client to do services, and the 3% service fee is multiple thousands of dollars each month, you start to thinking, man, I could really use that multiple thousand.
Yeah.
But that mindset is not them first.
Correct.
You know?
I know.
So you have to be willing to let go,
You do.
and that's hard.
It is.
So
I'm glad you brought that up. But I too like to operate from that, like, clients first. And I always want to have a very service mindset, you know, to be here to serve others. And truly just that's our whole purpose.
and it doesn't
of
mean
life.
you have to give away what you
No.
do or your time for free.
Right.
You know, again, another podcast I was watching the other day talked about how don't undervalue yourself by not charging what you're really worth.
That's another.
Like, most people that do what you do or do what I do or are entrepreneurs or aren't, quote unquote, always paid by the hour, you know, they forget to look at what if I was to say, how much do you make an hour? You'd be like, well, I don't get paid by the hour
Right.
per se,
Mm-hmm.
but you do. So and it's as easy as how much money did you make in the last 12 months?
Yeah.
Divide it by, time spent, and you've got your hourly rate.
Right.
So if that's $50 an hour, or $100 or $300, we don't always think about ourselves like that.
Right.
Like, wow, I could really be charging $300 an hour for my time.
Right.
Wow, or more. So, and again, that doesn't your cost doesn't necessarily mean you're not being, I would say, fan or customer
Right.
first.
Right.
Because time is valuable
I
because
know.
it's limited. You can't get it back.
That's true.
But anyway, yeah, that's the long-winded answer. I bet you didn't expect it to be that long.
This is what I love, though, because it all comes full circle, and I'm glad I asked that, and I'm glad you shared it. I love it.
Now
and
it's going to be out there, and someone's going to steal my idea.
Yeah. Let's get
So
on
I
it.
gotta cut this, turn this, make this a
I
private
love
stream.
that. I love
Anyway.
that. I keep looking because there was a couple more I wanted to
go
ask
for it.
you. So yes, I asked you a lot about business and all of that, and what your business wants to be known for. But what do you want to be known for? So at the end of the day, if all this went away, and what does Bran Collins want to be known for? And I love to ask people that question because I think it makes them dig a little deeper. And I've thought these questions through myself, and it's just something I like to pitch back to people.
Yeah.
And I just wonder,
I think I want to be known for leaving the place better than I found it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Whether that's, my close friends and family,
hmm
or the tracks that I leave in the sand,
Mhm. I love
because
that.
eventually in 100 years, no one's going to know my name.
hmm
And, I don't necessarily want my name to be known. Like, I don't want my, handprint or whatever to be on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, that kind of stuff, that
Mhm.
something's going to stay. Cause you can't take any of that stuff with
No.
you.
Mhm.
But I think when people leave, the world a better place than it was from before them in whatever way, whether that's your husband or your brothers and sisters or your kids, because what you've instilled with them carries on,
hmm I love that.
and so be it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ralph Waldo Emerson said to leave the world a bit better, knowing even one life breathed easier because you lived.
Yeah.
And that's always just been my goal too, is anyone I meet, I want to leave them just a little bit better.
And that could be hard too, because the people that I want to be better than me by learning from me and my mistakes,
Mhm.
or things that I've learned that I want to instill wisdom at this point in their life, they don't want to hear any of it. Like my son doesn't want to hear any of my wisdom.
And it's true. Having kids and raising a family and like trying to impart your wisdom on them, it's
And
frustrating.
I
at
do a
times.
bad job with everybody of not doing a good job of hiding my emotion and intent in my face, and it being like when somebody asks me a question, like 85% of our communication is body languages and
Mhm.
like in voice quality.
Mhm.
And I'll say no, but my face will be like, yeah,
Yeah.
or opposite, right? And so I know, like, sometimes I might have a look of disgust because maybe Deck forgot to take out the garbage or something. I'm not really mad. I'm just like, anyway. Yeah.
Poor Deck.
Yep.
You'll get it.
Yep.
No, and they'll look back one day and they'll appreciate all the lessons that you taught them. And that's what I keep telling myself with my boys too, is like just showing up and being an example to them, I think is, they see what you do. Right.
Yep.
And
For sure.
yeah. No, I love that. That was a great answer. And I think that really ties in with your fan first theme for
Mhm.
your business.
Yeah. Thanks. We'll
Yeah.
see if we can figure that out.
I love that.
So, are you going to do a podcast?
I'm thinking about it. You're convincing me. This is fun. I've had a
So-
lot of fun.
Yeah, you've had some really, really good questions.
Thanks,
By the way. This has been good. It's kind of a little mini vacation. I think you could do it from a standpoint
Okay.
of, I think, you communicate clearly, you prepped, you got what it takes to do a show. Any kind of questions about struggles or anything like that? Or is there anything, what's stopping you from doing it right now? Time?
Time.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like my time is being pulled in a million directions. And every year at the end of the year, I always try to take inventory of where did I spend the most time? Where do I need to delegate?
Mhm.
How can I do better next year? And so as we're coming into 2026, I'm sitting down thinking about my goals. One of them is writing a book. So I'm delegating
Ooh.
time for that. And I've been setting aside time to work on that, which feels great. But I'm also thinking, do I want to take a hand at podcasting? Will I stick with it? What do I want it to look like? Who do I want to talk with? So figuring out the logistics of that.
That was with this show. Like I'm looking at like the camera feed and the angles and stuff, and like it finally looks like the vision I had for it. Not necessarily specifically the colors and the wood and all that kind.
It
But
looks
I'm
amazing.
looking at it and it kind of looks like
It looks
other shows that I've seen, meaning
Yeah.
it looks relatively professional.
does.
And I'm like, because the goals that I've had so far, you asked about that, haven't necessarily been a million views and all this kind of stuff. Is like, okay, get to a point where I can do a daily show, and I don't need a million people to do it, and because I don't have to rely on someone else to do a lot of hard work that I got to pay them for in order to get the content out there. Get it to a point where it can be done daily, and then get it to a point where it looks like it should be a show,
Yeah.
and not just someone deciding to get in front of the camera. Not that that can be a bad thing, because there's really good folks that do really good stuff. They're just sitting in front of their computer, but
Right.
they're compelling and intriguing.
No, but you have a
Um,
beautiful setup, cameras, microphones that sound great.
Now it's
headgear.
about finding more people that want to do what you're doing, like come on the show and
Mhm.
share, or even ask me questions, or
Mhm.
just talk about a subject in general, and figuring out a way to delegate the process of who's going to help me
Mhm.
get the butt in the seat
Yeah.
a couple times a week.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's what's stopping me is just the nitty gritty details that I want to figure out and have a plan laid out before I move forward with it. Because I would hate to get everything prepped and then
So one of the things I learned is, and this was weird to me, because I'm not afraid to public speak. I'm not afraid to get in front of a camera or anything like that. A lot of people just don't want to sit down, talk, and be on a microphone in front of a camera.
right.
Now, you probably know this because you've taken pictures of
Yeah.
you've been doing photography for so long. You've probably seen it in people when they're like really timid about it, or
Yes.
super nervous, or like, I don't know what it is about. I think a part of it is sports got it out of me. Like I'm just used to that's performance.
Yeah.
I never did like drama or any of that kind of stuff.
Right.
I've never done. I was in a play once, but I just grabbed a person and walked off stage. But but for for sports and stuff, you practice a lot. You get on a field or the stage and you perform, and you mess up, and it's no big deal because you just get up and do another play. And that's kind of what I look when I think about this kind of stuff.
Yeah. And my husband always jokes because he's like, you can talk to anyone. Like I love to talk to people because I want to know like where people come from and what drives people to do what they do, and just like find out your story. And there's so much to learn about other people. So
Yeah.
I love to talk to people. I just need to figure out all the logistics and all this beautiful setup here. So
One other thing, I
help
got a
me.
question for you. You had a lot of questions about business growth and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
What are your plans? What are you looking to do with your
Yeah.
business? Are you looking to grow bigger and
yeah.
create a team, or
Oh,
affect more
that's-
people? What are you?
That's a good question. So yeah, I think you kind of hit a point in your business where you almost feel unsettled.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of at that point. So one of the big goals is I'm going to write a book, kind of
Okay.
a memoir of just my journey through cancer and life lessons that it taught me and just everything along the way. I've had the opportunity this year to do a few speaking events for several groups of people, and that's been so fun and fulfilling.
It's super smart. That from a business standpoint,
It's
that type of direction is super smart, especially with AI and a lot of these other things that
Yeah.
are coming down.
Yeah.
'Cause only you can do what you can do.
Right. No one can do what you do like you
Right,
do. And I
right.
was like, I heard a quote like that, and I'm like, hey, that's really good. So I've had the speaking opportunities, and I've loved it. I've left there just feeling purposeful, I guess,
Mhm.
and really driven. So yeah, my goal is moving forward. I want to continue writing my book, finish my book, and hopefully maybe just speak about it and just have more impact. Like you said, leave people a little better after they've gotten to know you. So
Cool. Well, I would say I definitely think you could do a podcast. You
Thank
don't.
you.
One of the things is You don't need everything that you see here. You can get, when I started, it was just a couple cheap cameras. They were webcams.
Okay.
What Matt did really good is he didn't tell me, hey, you need to go out and buy 4K cameras and all that equipment you see there. I mean, all you need, because he kind of handled everything on his end.
Okay.
I paid him for it, but he handled, like, he had the software that I use now to run the show. He ran our other show with it's called Riverside.
Okay.
It's a low monthly subscription. It's not very expensive. There's different versions. I have the live streaming version. And then it kind of does everything. It doesn't give you multiple angles, but I can, now that I have a switcher, I can switch the angles and it's just the one feed.
Okay.
And, if you get a good, might spend a couple $100 on a good mic, like you'd spend a couple $100 on a good lens.
Right.
Because a microphone is going to make your voice more pleasing to the people listening. Harder for me than others, but you don't need all that stuff. If you have a computer and a webcam that you can maybe put at a better angle than what's on the screen, you can get started.
Okay.
But my problem is I like to tinker and I like toys, technical stuff. Like you're probably the same thing with your cameras. There's probably a camera that you want that's out there.
Yes.
I think when we met last, it was all webcams, and I think I had the little. They're in the drawer over there. They were just like cameras that were cameras and video cameras.
Gotcha.
And then I upgraded to these tilt pan zoom ones that are only 1080p, but someday I'll invest to go to 4K, but that's really expensive.
These sound great, and the setup is wonderful.
And you've got space too. I've been in your little photography shed. That would make a great little space.
I know. I could set it up in there, and I could just,
really like a nice chair,
right,
cup of coffee.
There you go.
And you can switch the backdrop every time because that's what
Brian's got it figured out.
But you could totally do it. I think you could totally do it. And you don't need to have a lot of money to get started. I think what you need is some ideas. It's helpful to have some people that you can either have come on so you don't always feel like you're talking to yourself or the camera. Sometimes I like doing a show just by myself. Okay. Sometimes it's really helpful to have Matt on because I can bounce back and forth.
Yeah. No, I love that. It's been on my mind for a while, and I don't know, I just felt compelled to text you and ask you. And
it didn't take a lot of my time to start. It takes more time now because I do the daily show.
Okay.
When I started, now it took more of my money then because I offloaded that to Matt and his team. So he would the week of or the week before, he'd tell me who was on the schedule. He would send me a little dossier of them, their background, information about them. I would spend a little bit of time maybe watching some other things they had done or reading up a little bit about them. I'd do minimal thinking about, because I don't like the conversation to be too forced. And because I can it's kind of like when it's really hard to smile for the camera and make it natural, right? Yeah. But if you can tell a joke or do something goofy, kid smiles, it looks natural.
Exactly.
So I just try to, a couple things that really interest me, and then I'll ask that main question, and then I just dig because I try to show interest. Tell me a little bit more. Oh, really? Why is that? And then just go right. But just when I started, because I had Matt, it didn't take much of my time. So I think what people need to think about, what's more important to you, the cost it might cost you to hire somebody to help you, or the time you're going to lose if you've got to do all the prep and stuff.
Absolutely.
Because all I had to do is I just had a space with a couch and a camera and a TV, and I'd sit down and I would join Riverside and Matt would just be ready to go.
That's right. I remember that. Remember your very first shows.
Yep. And so that was super easy, but it was costing me a couple grand a month. But I was doing 4 shows. That's what I wanted to do. I don't know why I picked 4 shows, but I did. And it got to be those where I was just like, okay, I want to learn how to do this myself, but I know it's going to take more of my time. We hired a team. I thought I could get the team back in India to do more than what they could. But they always wanted to record in the morning and things like that because they're done by noon. And I was like, no one's ever going to want to be, people are too busy in the morning. So I've got to make this thing to where it's in the evening because people will kind of it's easier to schedule time at the end of the day than the beginning of the day.
It is.
So it takes more of my time now, but not that much. I generally don't start prepping for a show until 3:00 for the 4:00 show.
Okay.
and those are just the easy shows. Like I didn't do any prep for well, I did. I got the space ready,
you
but
did
now
a
it's
lot
ready.
of prep.
I don't have to do it anymore. It's done. Like it's done. It's like, Brian, you got a business. Can't you afford to pay someone to do that? Do you know how much people charge per hour to do this? When I was doing it, I was like, I should just get into this business.
Yes, it
You know,
looks
I should
wonderful.
just hire myself out to do this. But so yeah, it's one of those like I don't have to spend too much time.
Yeah.
In fact, I kind of get mad at myself sometimes. I think I could do a better show if I spent more time thinking, maybe paying attention to business news. So I had more stuff to comment. But what I try to do for the daily show, I want to have more guests. And for the daily show, what I try to do is it's a good time for me to expunge what's been happening the last 24 hours in the business and a little bit of home and a little bit of sports to break it up. But and sometimes if the day is dead and I've got nothing on the books, there's not much to talk about, then I'll try to pull from outside. But I usually like to say, hey, I had 2 discovery meetings. I had a discovery meeting, an assessment, and a presentation today. It's amazing. I think we're going to win this deal. It's going to be worth X amount per month. You know, if we get this, it's going to allow, you know, I'll talk.
Okay.
I'll try to talk through what it's like being in the business.
Okay.
Because my hope, because this isn't, I could never find anything when I was younger in business. No one out there just kind of, except for a couple people, just kind of being real, no fluff, no filter. What's the day-to-day like?
Right.
You know, I talk about like my vendor relationships. If a vendor's making me mad, I don't throw them under the bus and say who they are, but like, man, we need to get better results with this. So I'll have a conversation about, listen, guys, if you're paying thousands of dollars a month and expect a result, but you're just letting them get by with half the results, which I can tend to do because I like people and I don't like to yell at people all that much. But Manny will come in and be like, man, he's writing the check for the money. He's like, I don't see any results. Why are we still paying these people? I'm like, okay, you're right. I got to hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
But I'll have those conversations.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to have those hard conversations.
Yep. So it helps me get it off my chest because I'm burdening whoever sees it on you know, YouTube or whatever, and it could help them.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to whine to Jen or things about.
But that's what I love about these conversations is because they are real and they're open, they're honest, and we highlight the good and the bad and everything in between. And I think it's important to talk about that because if there's somebody who is considering starting their own business and they just might be like, hey, should I go for it? What's it like? You know? And I think it's important to address. I think
it'd be a really cool thing for you to be able to share with your customers that you have, give an avenue into like, because, you know, Jen maybe talks to you a couple times a year when she might be arranging to you know, to get photos done. And, you know, we don't, I mean, you're putting pictures out on your website. It's kind of the old school way of putting things out there. But a lot of things, I think people are interested in, you know, the other things that you're doing and the things that you're learning or talking about some new techniques or things that you can apply because people see that and get fired up. I want to try that.
Yeah.
She can do that?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool. You know?
I know. And there are ideas that I have rolling through my head.
But it doesn't have to be just about photography. Right. Like you said, you want to talk, just like I don't just get on here and talk about AI and technology and scribes and revenue cycle management because no, it's just not that interesting. Right. Sometimes it is when it's the business growing or the process of that. But I far more enjoy pulling other people in and have conversations like this.
Yeah, I like it too. And I enjoy it. And I appreciate your willingness to do it and just have these conversations. So I know I don't want to keep you too long, but I guess if I had one more question to ask you, if you could go back and talk to your younger self, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
It's going to be okay.
Yeah. And it really is, right?
Yep. There's this book called Pails. It's written by someone named Chris Brady. And that whole book is about this question. If you could go back to yourself 10 years ago or whatever, what would you tell yourself? You know, he's got a really good way of putting it in the book. If you want it, I've got it. I think I have it in the office.
Yeah,
you can read
that sounds interesting.
I have to dig through a little bit, it's all about that. It's about, you know, because 10, 15 years ago, I talked about it a little bit. I used to think, you know, the managers and leaders were jerks stealing all the money. Well, life's a lot harder for them than we think. I don't want to have a pity party.
Right.
But when I talk about the people here on the team, or even the people back in India, that's our family. And when the business struggles, I don't have to think about how much I bring home. I have to think about people paying their bills and people feeding their kids and people, you know, getting Christmas presents and keeping them alive, all these kind of little things.
Yeah.
And what I wish for everybody that's on our team that has goals, hopes, and dreams, and it might not be forever here. You know, it's like, okay, learn something here that you can take and do even in 3x, 4x, 10x your lifestyle down the road. So that's what I would tell myself. And the other thing is, I wish I knew things that I learned like when I was 30, 31, 32, 33 earlier. I wish there was, and that's what I just wish there was a way when we're younger, like the high school years or even the college years, that it was less about these subjects that are relatively frivolous. Like there's classic knowledge that I don't think we should lose.
Right.
But some of these other things, I wish it could just be, and a lot of the times when you're that age, you don't listen because all you're worried about is getting done and, you know, entertaining yourself. But I wish when I was in my 20s, I would have known how the world really works.
And I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, speaking of just like going back to high school and college courses. Why was I not taught this?
Probably because we wouldn't listen.
And it's like,
I'm convinced it's because we wouldn't listen. Like man, when I look at my son, I try to tell myself, man, if when I was 14, I had a dad that was trying to teach me these things, I would have totally listened and I would have been awesome. I wouldn't have listened. I would have rolled my eyes, went right back to, you know, screwing off.
Yeah.
And it's like, some of it is part of the truth of life is like, we're all prodigal in a way. Like the answers, you know, are right in front of us. The way that we should really act and do things and still be fulfilled is right in front of us. But we still, until we've been like burned our hand and really screwed up and we're still over here doing the wrong things. You know, it's, you know, like if I could go back to myself in my 20s, I wish I could tell myself, hey, that person that invited you to church, go. Because I didn't. I wouldn't. That's another big one.
What changed that for you?
Life experience, fatherhood, trials, tribulations, falling on my face.
Yeah.
Finally looking around me and realizing where truth really was, that kind of stuff. And getting humbled is probably what did it for me the most.
No, I love that.
Yep.
But the beautiful thing is you came to the realization and, you know, here you are now setting the example for your kids and your family and business partners and the people who are around you. So
yeah, I wouldn't say life's necessarily easier. I have more fun. I feel more fulfilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people will ask how I'm doing. I try to say blessed and highly favored because that's how I feel a lot of the time. Because I could be so much worse off for sure.
It's so true. I know. No, and I always say you can be grateful with what you have, but yet still like want to strive for more too.
Yep. That's the complacency versus content.
Yes.
Right? You can be content, but being complacent means you don't value, you don't care. Right? It's like content says that I could lose it all and be okay. And I learned that from being young and being super poor and being passed around, all that kind of stuff I went through. I just learned that you can lose everything. You know, the roof over your head, you know, you can have the ability to not have dinner tonight because you can't, there's all these things terrible that happen in the world, but like, it's going to be okay. That's that kind of not losing hope kind of thing. But when you're content, it's like, man, I want more, but if I don't get it, I don't feel like I'm a failure.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. I think that's a really important lesson too. And two, just back to my personal story, like growing up, my family lost their livelihood to a devastating fire. So, you know, we realized it was out of our control. And then when I got diagnosed with a bone marrow cancer, I realized that was out of my control too. And just learning the art of surrender, and just being content, right? And grateful for what you have because it could always be so much worse.
Yeah. Like surrender's a big, like I was thinking the same thing when you said that, but I couldn't think of the word. It's no matter what you have, being able to let it go. Because that means you have it. It doesn't have you.
Correct.
Like I have lots of nice things, but I don't, besides my family, I'd really struggle letting them go.
Yeah.
I'd
likewise,
really struggle with
likewise.
that. But like I have way too much stuff. You know, and the only reason I haven't gotten rid of a lot of the stuff I have, I don't want to go through the process of selling it. I kind of just want to give it away. You know what I mean? It's like, You know, it's,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
It feels
Like
freeing
I
sometimes.
was
just-
telling Jen, I was like,
yeah.
I have way too many guitars.
Yeah.
She's like, I think I need to get rid of most of them. She's like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, you can't get rid of she got a lot of gifts over the years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't get rid of those. No.
Yeah.
But I have way too many. But I don't, I was just like,
Yeah.
make a couple $100 here or there. Or could I find someone who really wants to learn or really needs it and just be like, here's a gift.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean?
And sometimes that even feels better,
Oh, it feels way better.
right? Just like gifting.
Feels way better.
I'll say if you want to feel better, get yourself off your mind and think about somebody else.
Yeah.
And usually it like instantly works.
Yep.
Yeah. hmm
So cool. Anything else?
I love it. I feel like I've plagued you with enough questions.
No, this has
for
been great.
today.
This has been fun. Time's gone by really fast.
It has.
We got to do this again more often.
I'd love
I was
to.
telling you before the show, we got to figure out a way to make you a regular.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh yeah, guest host. There you go.
There you go.
Yep.
I like it.
I'll tell you what. We was talking about goals. My original goal, and this table won't be forever, but the table I want it to be just as big, but I want it to be able to seat 4.
Oh yeah.
2 on the ends with 4 mics, 2 on the ends and 2 in here.
That would be beautiful.
Because we can always pull back to a wider angle, but that's really what I want, some more people involved.
Yeah.
I have this vision of bringing employees in and kind of highlighting them when they've done cool
There
things.
you go, girl.
It's hard to. Jamie will do it no problem. She's great at it. But like I wanted to bring in one of our IT guys. He's got this really good review from a client. He's like, oh no, I don't want anything to do with it. He's like, I left my last job because they tried to get me to go up and talk to people about what I do. I'm like, okay, dude, you can't leave this job. You'll never have to go in for. Don't worry.
Oh.
But like, even I want to bring people in from India too, and they get really scared and they get really nervous. I'm like, that's what I was talking about before. I don't realize how many people it really is off-putting to be sat down, because they kind of feel like they get the sweats and
Yeah, a lot of people, they fear public speaking or speaking in front of people. And while like it'll sometimes get my heart racing, it also like fires me up and fuels me up too. And so over the few speaking engagements that I've had over this past year, just always like go in, give myself a little pep talk. And I'm like, you are here for a purpose greater than yourself. Like, go out there and do it afraid.
Yep.
I tell my boys that too. I'm like, if you're nervous, do it afraid, right?
I like that. Do it afraid. I'm going to tell that to Arya because she's playing like volleyball and basketball
Yeah.
right now. She's getting so good too, but I can see it in her eyes. Sometimes she's super nervous. But yeah, do it afraid because, that'll get you over that hump of.
It will. And I'm like, if you wait for the feeling, I never go by my feelings because I'll never feel like it or you'll never feel 100%. And I think you just have to go for it.
I try to tell people all the time, I don't want to know about what you feel because your feelings are lying to you.
Yeah.
That's what they, yep.
Yep. So that's how I like to do it and just get after it. And it really feels accomplishing. And yeah, I love it. I love these conversations. I love learning. I feel like you've given me so much great insight today.
Cool.
So thank
I
you
appreciate
for that.
it. Thanks for hosting the show today. It was awesome. It's funny you came in. We were kind of talking before the show. Everybody, she was like, "I don't want you to feel like I'm stepping on your toes." And I'm like, "Go nuts!
I'm taking over today.
This is going to be great."
This was wonderful, and I love to hear your insight and your side of the story. So yeah, thanks for imparting your wisdom
You're
on
welcome.
all of us. Yeah.
You're welcome. I appreciate the time because I know your time is super valuable. And yeah, you're welcome on the show anytime.
I love
Something
it.
comes up,
Thank you.
let me know. We'll get you in here.
Love it. We'll do that. We'll brainstorm another topic.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to end that on that note. Thanks everybody for joining us for episode 92. I can't believe we're almost to 100. We're going to have to do something fun on number 100 before the end of the year. Episode 92 of the Daily BLP. Thanks everybody. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.